Hey everybody, what's going on? Thanks for watching another video game recommendation video. I don't have really much to say today to, warrant doing a whole blog post, so I thought I'd go ahead and do this. It keeps me fresh as far as making videos goes, and keeps me, like I've said, focused. So what I wanted to do today was to go ahead and showcase games from 3 different consoles, and the consoles I'm going to showcase are the NES, the Super NES, and the Sega Genesis. I picked a game from each one of those that are in my collection, and I thought I'd go ahead and show them and talk a little bit about them. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start out with the NES. Now, instead of doing just one game, I decided to do 3 since I had all 3 in the collection, and it's one of my favorite series in the Nintendo library. And I'm going to go ahead and just start this out by saying Ninja Gaiden, depending on how you did say it. Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and Ninja Gaiden 3. Now, back in, I think it was '88 when the first Ninja Gaiden came out. When it came out, I fully expected to see the arcade version on Nintendo, so I was kind of excited to get that beat 'em up. What I got was the side-scrolling Ninja Gaiden that we've come to love on the Nintendo. Now, when I first started playing it, when I first got into it, I was disappointed, I was a little upset, but the game grew on me. This was one of the most cinematic games I'd ever played on the NES. And to this day, I still love it. There used to be a point when I had played the game so much that I could blindfold myself. Of course, everybody's gonna talk to me whenever I'm doing a video. Sorry about Ed 209 there. I would blindfold myself, and I could play through the entire first level blindfolded and without taking damage, because I knew where everything was. I knew when to jump, I knew when to attack. So I can't do that these days, unfortunately. That's like me beating Golden Axe at the arcades with 1/4. That was awesome. I only did that once, but that was neat. Ninja Gaiden 2 and 3, I mean, yeah, they still hold a place in my heart, but not as big as the first Ninja Gaiden. I played this so much, and it just brings back good memories. It wasn't until, I think, 1990 that Part 2 came out. Yeah, Part 2 came out in 90. And then Part 3, surprisingly enough, it came out the next year, but I didn't play it up until, I think it was like 98, whenever the Super Nintendo collection came out for all 3. So I'm a little bummed I didn't play it, but I felt they were all 3 great games. The first one, though, was, I think, one of the hardest. 3 gave you a limit as to how many times you could continue, and then had to go back to the start. So if you've never played them, Ninja Gaiden is to be said, a lot of people say it's one of the hardest games on the NES. Now, I would say maybe in a top 10, but, I mean, once you get the patterns down, it's not all that difficult, especially if you know where some of the glitches are in the game. It'll help you get through pretty quick. Next one, since we're on Nintendo, I will go ahead and go with Super Nintendo. Now, I don't have many games in my collection. I think I have only about 10 right now, because I started focusing more on NES and Sega Genesis. I didn't really have a Super Nintendo. Whenever I was younger, I had the Sega Genesis, I had the Nintendo, so I think that's why I haven't been doing the SNES thing. I'm going to start building my collection. I saw Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past the other day at a game store in Arkansas for $14, so I think that's as good as I'm going to get with that, and I'm dying to get A Link to the Past, because that was my favorite Zelda game. But, since we're on, role-playing games and all that, my pick for the Super Nintendo is Chrono Trigger. Now, I remember when this came out, I was unsure about it. It seemed a little odd to me. I was big into RPGs, so I tried this game out, I rented it, and I played it through the entire weekend. I'm talking, I played it so much, and just fully expecting to beat it, because, I mean, think about it. Back when we were playing these games, that's all we did over the weekend. We'd rent the game Friday, have it Saturday, Sunday, take it back Monday, or take it back Sunday, depending on if it was open or closed. And, you know, you just do that nonstop. I mean, what else, what better did you have to do, really, you know? As a kid, you know, your responsibilities are much less than when you're an adult, so that's why. But I didn't beat it. Like, I was so trying to beat it and so trying to beat it, and I didn't do it. And that compelled me to actually buy the game. Now that I look on like eBay and Amazon and so on, this game's a pretty penny, surprisingly. I was blown away whenever I actually found this again in my collection, and you know, years later, you know, I had just kind of tossed it in a box and forgot about it, kind of with a lot of my games. The first Ninja Gaiden, as a matter of fact, was the same way. So having Chrono Trigger sit in a box is awesome. I've also got the Super Famicom version of this with the booklet and the box floating around here somewhere, so I'm happy I have those. The Famicom version was after I had become a collector. So Chrono Trigger, Super Nintendo. Which brings me to the Sega Genesis. Back in '95, when I moved to Arizona, my uncle had a bunch of games. You know, my uncle was the one that always introduced me to a bunch of new games. And, you know, one game that stood out further than the rest of any of the others, it just enthralled me. It was deep. I loved it. And I don't know, even to this day, I still really love this game. But Shadowrun on the Sega Genesis. If you've never played this... If you've never played this, do so. It's a pretty neat game. I mean, being able to go in and hack systems to get some credits, or if that's one of your mission objectives, to better your I guess you could say modem, it's your cyber deck, to go around and find out who murdered your brother in it. You know, it's a really deep game, especially for Sega Genesis days. I do not recommend it on the Super Nintendo. If you're saying, hey, I have the Super Nintendo version, it is not the same at all. I promise you that. If you need proof, get an emulator. Get an emulator for the Super Nintendo and the Genesis, and try them both out back to back. You will see what I'm talking about. I mean, that's like, I don't know, that's like trying to compare potato chips to vanilla ice cream. It's so different. So, yeah, Shadowrun. So anyway, with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Thank you for watching. I wanted to actually give a couple of thanks real quick to a couple of people who have subscribed to me, and I appreciate all the comments. There's Ultramat01, and let me see here. Sorry, I don't know your names all yet. I've been busy. So the Donovan Viper. Thank you much. You know, I'm always up for meeting new people, especially in collecting games. I love talking about it. My wife gets so irritated at me because that's 90% of the time I'm talking video games. It's my passion, it's my love. So to be able to have like-minded people like you, that's awesome to talk with. That's awesome. I appreciate it. So I'll keep watching your videos. So anyway, as I always say at the end of my videos, please, if you're new, subscribe. I guarantee you I'll have plenty to talk about even from here on. Got some good stuff coming up. I will be showing more of my collection as I get my game room together, which I'm hoping today I will start getting it together. And as always, thank you for viewing. Talk to you next time.